Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We learned a lot last time she was here. We're going to pick up from that point in terms of essentially everything within your body, what fuels it. We're talking about nutrition with a doctor of naturopathy. She's a certified body talk trainer. She's a master herbalist, but most importantly, she's a certified nutritional counselor. And this is Nutrition Part 2 with Dr. Jackie Thomas Ali. Welcome. How are you doing?
Hey, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you. I'm grateful to be here and to share Part 2 of this presentation. I remember in before a while back talking about food and nutrition, but now we're taking this to another level. And it's with the understanding that food has primarily one purpose, and that purpose is to provide the body the nutrients that it needs to build and repair itself. Otherwise, it makes it very difficult in terms of just getting nutrients from the air. There's some, but most of what the body needs, it gets from the foods that we take in. And it's a matter of really being mindful of what we eat. And in these days and times, it's important to do that, to be mindful, because there are so many ads, commercials, as well as locations of fast food places. And fast food places offers food that fast to pick up. You can pick it up very quickly. They have these specials where if you buy this, you only have to spend that amount of money. So they're really trying to make it budget friendly to get people to come in. But many times they don't let people know what the content is of what they are sharing and serving.
It's a wake up when you hear what Socrates said thousands of years ago. Food is medicine.
Yes.
Food is medicine. When you think of it that way, you might not want to go through that fast food drive-through.
Yes, exactly. And not be so caught into taste, because they know what we desire and how to manipulate taste. So I think I shared and talked about this before, but I want to again go into talking about taste. So bear with me while I... the thing that stood out for me is the things like sweet and sour. Yes.
Or salty and sweet. There's something there that we crave. We like the way it tastes, but fast food restaurants figured that out long ago. It's
they have
multi-billion-dollar industry. So they do millions and millions and millions of dollars in research to study just what we want, not what we need in our body, what we want, what we crave, because it's all about money.
What our taste is trained to do, because know that taste, the way that we combine foods is not the way that it's combined around the world. Other cultures, other countries combine very differently.
That's a really great point, because they're playing to the audience. So this audience here in the U.S., different than the U.K. What's the example? If you look at French fries in the U.S., it's got 17 ingredients. 17. Yeah. You look at French fries in the UK, it's got 3.
Yes.
because
Yes.
that different government, so there's different guidelines, but that's what they're used to. We're used to more. We're used to a certain flavor, and you get that flavor from multiple ingredients.
Alrighty, so now what I'd like to do is do a screen share of the flavors so that people can actually see what they are. So just bear with me for a moment.
Sure.
While I work this out. And can you see the flavors?
Yes.
Okay. And you can see how where in the middle it says the flavor star, what flavors support each other. And if you notice, salt and sweet support each other. And that's kind of how the flavors work in what we get from fast food places, that they've combined salt and sweet and salt, and those are the things that people have a tendency to go to, but also salt and sour, sweet and sour, and bitter and spicy. So a person should really be mindful of these flavors as they are not only purchasing from restaurants or fast food locations, but also as they are preparing their own foods, as to what flavors really go together, and what flavors, I guess, balance out each other, attract each other, and so forth.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you start thinking of it in these terms, that
yes,
we're being manipulated, like we're puppets. We're flavor puppets.
To a degree, in terms of, I want you to come and buy things from my store, my restaurant, my location, and this is what we're using to entice and to bring people over. Wow. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to stop this screen share. And thanks for your patience.
No worries at all.
Okay. And then also emphasize a couple of things in terms of how we make our food choices. And many times our food choices are not just only based on taste, but also family history. That if our family had a history of doing this, making that, sharing that, we have a tendency to repeat that pattern. A friend of mine had a family member who was the one who would make potato salad. And that person who made the potato salad transitioned, and nobody else wanted to even try, because it was something that was specific for that family member within that family line. So much of what we eat, what we take in, has a lot to do with our family.
And my family historically has eaten potato salad. I don't eat it.
I hear you.
Never did. Doesn't do anything for me.
I hear you. And that's fine. It just doesn't resonate for you.
Yeah.
Now, and it's interesting that you say that, because when we eat, the tongue sends a signal to our stomach, letting it know that certain foods are coming, so that the stomach can release certain digestive juices. Some digestive juices are compatible, some are not. That's why sometimes people, they're okay, but other times they end up with indigestion and all kinds of things. So what I'd like to do now is show you, screen share a a chart that shows what foods are compatible in terms of producing enzymes in the stomach that can work together very well. So let me do another screen share. And okay, how can you see it?
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to start with this portion where the circles are touching. It's the body's way and the chart's way of saying that the body, the digestive enzymes that the body produces from eating these are compatible. So in other words, proteins, which is your meat, your fish, and so forth, are compatible with starchy vegetables and green leafy vegetables. So you can see how the circles are touching, where the protein is touching the starchy vegetables in terms of carrots and beans and potatoes, and how it's also touching the leafy, green leafy, such as kale and asparagus, Brussels sprouts. So those three can be combined very easily with each other. However, think about the number of people that also include grains in this combination. Grains meaning rice, millet, oats, and these grains are produce digestive as well as wheat flours and things. These grains produce digestive, cause the stomach to produce digestive enzymes that are only compatible with green leafy vegetables.
Wow. So this is what I'm getting from this. Dr. Jackie, when we look at this,
yes,
proteins. So let's say you go and get a wrap and there's some steak on the wrap, right? Love that.
Yes.
I might go to a Mexican place and I'm going to get that. And a lot of times there's rice in that. Love it. And there's also, it's on a wrap. So that's wheat and flour. So right there, combination, not the best for your stomach.
Exactly. But the stomach is going to try its best to digest it. It's going to try its best to work with it. Yeah. But if it's not getting there, that's when you're going to have problems. And it's not the restaurant's, I don't want to say fault, but we have to be very conscious of letting the restaurant owners know, put this in, take that out. I don't want this. I do want that, so that they know what to combine, because they combine based on taste and not based on digestion.
Well, and it's the consumer's choice. I love the way that tastes. I love me a wrap with some rice on it there, and yes, the beans are on there. That's great.
Yeah, and if I get indigestion, no problem.
Right.
I'll just drop a couple of, what's those things called?
Tums or whatever. But here's the thing. A lot of times we eat this stuff and we think it's a one-off. Just have a little isolated case. Wow. We probably don't put it together that every time we eat something that has proteins and grains, that there may be a digestion challenge there. Now
exactly.
Right there on the chart.
Yes, and that's why this is important. Now, also, the same thing goes with involving fruits. That certain fruits go together and not just put them all together. And for the same reason, so sweet fruits such as bananas and figs work very well with what has been classified as subacid fruits, such as cherries and papaya and pears and so forth. They work very well together. The subacid fruits work very well with the acid fruits, such as grapefruit, oranges, lemons, and so forth. And so it's a matter of all of these fruits can't be combined together, even though they may taste great. And if you notice, melons is not touching anything because melons really they have the stomach produce a different set of digestive enzymes that are specific to melons. So when we combine or get something that combines all of this, and then shortly after we finish eating, we're like, and we think it's healthy, to a degree it is, but to a degree the body is struggling, trying to find ways to break it down and to digest it.
Well, let's talk about this. Now, you go to a breakfast buffet, or you get a fruit plate. What's on there? Lots of cantaloupe, maybe some honeydew. They will also put on there potentially some berries, some apples, maybe some grapes. All this is there along with the melon family, and we don't even think anything of it. Here's the deal.
Exactly.
I'm eating fruit. I'm doing the, nature's candy. This is fantastic.
Yes. And restaurants put it together like that because it looks nice.
Yeah.
It looks attractive. It looks appetizing. But if you are here in Philadelphia, we have, and I'm sure in other cities it's very similar, a lot of fruit trucks, especially where there are universities, because students will go and order their lunch or food or whatever from these trucks. So we really have to do our best that if we're going to order a fruit, that it's okay to combine bananas and cherries and pears with prunes and grapes.
And it's my understanding too, the banana is the fruit that has the highest glycemic index, meaning it's the sweetest, and it varies. So if you have a banana that's got, some darkness to it with the yellow, it's way sweeter than if it's got a little tiny bit of green or just got past the green stage.
Yes.
On one side, we're eating better because we're eating fruit, which is natural sugar. It's got fiber. It's all good. But on the flip side, if you add melon to whatever you're eating, the other fruits, we might have a little digestion issue there.
Exactly. So when it comes to combining fruits, I encourage people, just have your melons by themselves. Have your cantaloupe, your honeydew, your watermelon. It's okay to put all of those together because the body is able to work this out. And if for some reason they want to have other fruits, then leave the melons out and do the combinations using the information that's shared here.
Very interesting. Very good to know.
Okay.
Almost running out of time. I just want us to be aware. Like a lot of this. Again, these are things that we all eat all the time.
Yes.
But we don't think about how we eat them and how it could impact our digestion.
Okay. Now, one last thing before we close it. I'm not telling a person don't have any meat or animal-based foods whatsoever, because I know that especially in this country, in this culture, people are going to have that. My recommendation is that if they're going to have any types of meats, whether it's chicken, beef, pork, or even fish, that the meats are free range, meaning that the chickens and the cows and everything are out on the field and they're eating the grass itself. And this way they're getting more of the natural, more of their own nutrients, as opposed to farm raised. Farm raised animals, their produce or what they are fed is more controlled or chemical based, and that a person really needs to be mindful. And now it's such that the governmental laws are such that they have to put on the package whether something is free range or farm raised. Even with fish, wild caught is so much better, because that means that the fishermen, fisherwomen, fisher people are actually going out in the ocean and bringing it up, as opposed to farm raised fish where it's in a container, and what they're being fed, what the fish are being fed, has a lot more chemicals to it.
Wow. I always struggle with, what to buy, whether, you want to make the investment in organic food. I don't want to eat the pesticides either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it really depends on how much a person wants to maintain as well as develop a healthy habit. Yes, it costs a little bit more to go organic or free range, but you have to ask yourself, am I worth it? And even if it means just a couple of things that a person eats, that they are now making the switch over to free range or organic, it's a start. And then over time, that can develop from there.
Wow. So insightful. Got to tell you, learned a lot today. Like, I will never eat cantaloupe again. No. Let me finish that.
Okay.
In the same way. Love cantaloupe.
Yes.
It's a fresh, fun tasting fruit. I feel like I'm on vacation when I have it. But
absolutely. Okay. And then one last thing. Mm-hmm. It is recommended that whatever we eat as our dinner, that meal needs to be at least 2 hours before we go to bed, so that it allows the body time during that 2-hour time to break it down and digest it, so that by the time we go to bed, that's when our body uses the nutrients from the foods to repair and rebuild. That happens while we're sleeping. So we want to be able to not have the body use its energy on digestion and use it for repair. So
Sure.
The optimal is 2 hours from the last meal before going to bed.
plus, it inhibits your sleep. And guilty as charged with that one. I had dinner last night at about, I want to say maybe like 8 o'clock or so. And then in bed by 11. And by 12, I was up eating something else. And I'm in a bad habit. I'm in a bad way. I got to change all that. Probably would sleep better.
Yeah.
Dr. Ali, Dr. Jackie, how do we find you? Like if somebody wants to, dig deeper into this in terms of their wellness, their nutrition, what do they do?
My website is earthlyessence.life. Life. earthlyessence.life.
Cool. You are certified in this so much, even in just a few minutes, what we've learned here. If you're having digestion issues, there's probably a reason why in terms of how you're eating and what you're eating.
Exactly.
And that's just the starting point. Thank you for everything today. Really appreciate it.
You are quite welcome. I'm truly grateful for your support and for being here, and look forward to the next time.
Absolutely. All right. We'll see you then.
All
We'll be
right.
right back.
Okay.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.